Alright, what's good YouTube? It's your boy FX here, and today I'm bringing you guys a NAS 100 trade breakdown that I took on, well, let me see what day this is, this 4th. I took it on Thursday. It was a great day. I made $200 off this trade. Like, I'm currently in the phase of just compounding my account in order for me to be able to compound it and then just be able to quit my job. So let's get into it. It was a beautiful day. I took a bad trade on GJ. GJ just completely melted. It was oversold. So this week and for the next upcoming weeks, I'm expecting for it to just fill in the areas. So I went 4-1 NFP this week. It was a great week overall. Like, even though I did take that one loss, like, it was just a great week overall. But let's get into this NAS trade because people have been asking me about this trade. Like, everybody knows, like, I love trading NAS 100. People have been asking me about this setup and how I was able to catch it. So I had gotten to the chart. It was around 8:45, 9 o'clock ish, because I don't like touching indices. Like, I don't like touching indices like when the stock exchange is closed, because it's high risk, if that makes sense. So I started off in the 15 minute, the 4 hour, and I'm not really seeing anything off the higher time frames other than the fact that it's on a bullish market. But then again, like, indices are always on a bullish market. It already created like higher highs, like all-time highs, I mean. So all I'm seeing is just that it's on a bullish market. So naturally, off the 4 hour and the 1 hour, like, that's all I'm seeing. It's just it's on a bullish market. Like, it'll consolidate, push up, consolidate to continue pushing back up, but again, we're on a bullish market. So being that that's being said, I just went straight to the 15 minute, and this is what I saw. I saw liquidity sitting right up here because retail traders are selling. But again, of course, this is during London session. If not, if it's not London session, yeah, it's London session. At this point right here, this red time zone, this red like box, that's London session. So like, I know that that's liquidity because that's a session high right then and there. And again, we're on a bullish market. So what I did was I noticed that was a London session high, and then I noticed that it was creating, after this huge bullish engulfing candle, I noticed that it was creating like a level of support right here. So what I did was I made a box, okay, because no candlestick wants to close underneath that zone. Let me fix it up real quick. All right, good. So no candlestick wants to close underneath that zone. Like, this was literally a 15 minute 15 and 5 minute analysis. Like, that was it. Like, I went off the price action based off of the 15 and 5 minute. That was it. So at this point, when I'm seeing this is 8:45. Now, I just finished saying that I do not like trading NAS 100 or just indices in general before the stock exchange open, because it's high risk. And then even when you do trade it at 9:30, when the stock exchange opens, unless it's SPX, it'll explode with a move where it'll just tap you and then it'll go in your direction. So I like to normally wait until like that 9:30, 9:45, 9:30, 9:40, 9:45 time zone. So remember, keep in mind, guys, this is a 15 minute. So this next candlestick is 9 o'clock. At this point, I'm still waiting. Okay. So I already have some type of confluences. Higher time frames are bullish. We're on a natural bullish market. We're bouncing off of a level of support, and then there's liquidity to the upside. I already have 4 confluences, so I'm just waiting for stock exchange to grab liquidity on the downside or fill in some areas, and then shoot up to the upside to where I can get my 1 or 2 or 1-on-1 risk to reward. So this is 9 o'clock. This is 9:15. Now again, as you can see, we're still off this level of support. Now, I didn't buy right here. Most people would have just bought, like, they would have just bought off support. Like, people who still don't understand how to trade NAS 100, they would have just bought straight off of support. Now, the reason why I didn't just buy straight off when the stock exchange opened was because if you look left, this little smidge, this is a small smidge right here, okay? That's a gap in the market. Now once my course comes out, you will understand like how you can use like the gaps as like potential take profit. So if you would have like gone into like a small sell, the market is gonna come down, fill in that area to then push back up. Not to mention, like, all of this right here, like, this is liquidity as well. Like, all of this here, where is it? Like, all of this, all those lows right there, that's all liquidity right there as well. So this is the 9:15 candle, and then look at what happens when stock exchange opens. Boom, it blasts through that zone, which not only it grabbed liquidity right here, like this low right here, what did it also do? It also filled in that area. So it filled in this area, and it tried to scare some of these retail traders. Okay, remember, the goal is to move with the banks. Now it grabbed liquidity and filled in an area. If it grabbed liquidity to the downside and filled in an area to get investors at a lower price, what do you think it's gonna do? It's gonna go to the upside and grab this liquidity. Now at this point, before 9 o'clock hit, let me take this off before I speak. Now before this candlestick opened, let me actually take this off so that you guys can understand what I'm saying. So when stock exchange opened, now we're on the 5-minute. Like, this candle, as you can see, it does not want to close below that 15-minute support zone. All it did was grab liquidity and fill in that area. Once I saw that, I'm like, yeah, we're shooting up to the upside to grab this liquidity, because this is a swing high right up there. It's already making all-time highs. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wait for the 9:30 candle to close, and then once it starts breaking above candles, I will be getting in for the buy, because I would teach on my course that once candlesticks start breaking above, that's when I get in for the buy. So I already had my coordinates set already once the candlestick closed. So I was going for, obviously, this liquidity was profit target. Now here's the thing, I didn't have my stop loss underneath this low, because as you can see, it obviously lowered my risk to reward. And again, I'm in the phase where I'm just trying to compound my account so that I can then be able to quit my job. Now, 2 reasons why I didn't have my stop loss underneath this low, because on my course I always teach to not have like a huge stop loss like this, but instead to have it like underneath candlestick lows. Now the reason why I didn't have it underneath that low is because you'll see with the next candle, look at what happens. It still doesn't want to close underneath that zone, and it started breaking above. So instead of me having a huge stop loss like this, I prefer to have my stop loss underneath that low. And as you can see, it raised up my risk to reward. So instead of me getting just a little over a 1 or 2, I'm getting almost a 1 to 4. So like I said, I made $200 off this trade, but in reality, it was just because I took that GJ loss. So I made some money. I made more, but I made that money back from GJ loss, and then the 200 was just straight profit. So as you guys can see, it started, come on, trading view, it started breaking above that candle high, that 9:30 candle high. So if you look at the confluences, we're bouncing off of a 15-minute level of support. They grabbed liquidity to the downside. They filled in an area, a gap in the market. The higher time frames are bullish, and then on top of that, we have a liquidity on the lower time frame, like a peak high on the lower time frame, which we know is also liquidity as well. So I had my stop loss right underneath this low, right at 9:35. That's when I entered the trade. Like when it started dipping below and it broke above this high, that's when I got in the trade, and the rest was history. Right after that, right when this candlestick closed, when it bounced off the level of support, my stop loss was at break even. We were risk free. And then not to mention, I also took off 50% off the order. After that, the rest was history. Like TP got smashed 10 minutes later. Like this was a textbook setup. It grabbed liquidity, grabbed an area to fill, got more investors at a lower price. We're bouncing off support. There's liquidity to the upside, like, you know, and it was just a textbook setup. Now, honestly, I'm kind of mad I didn't leave like a runner, because it just took off. Like NAS 100 took off. As you can see, people who are going to buy my course, I also teach about the 13 EMA. So like, I could have honestly had like a way bigger risk to reward, but the reason why I didn't do that was because since we're already breaking like session highs and we're already creating all-time highs, I didn't want to like leave a runner and get greedy, because it could have came all the way back down and tapped me. Especially being that my stop loss is at break even, and not to mention I'm also a scalper. Like I don't really like holding positions. But as you can see, like Nas 100 just took off, and then as you can see, like it kind of starts pulling back. That's why I don't really like to hold positions, not because I'm scared, but again, like if I already made my pips, if I already caught my move for the day, like, and if I already made my money, like I'm not gonna sit down and get greedy. But yeah, like that was literally the trade breakdown. It was textbook, bouncing off a level support, higher time frames are bullish, we're on a bullish market. They grab liquidity to the downside and filled in a gap. There's liquidity on the lower time frames to the upside. Like everything is just in confluence. Like I love trades where you don't have to really you don't have to think about it so much. Like everything is just in confluence with one another. So that was the trade breakdown. To be honest, like I said, I took a bad trade on GJ, but with this Nas 100 trade, I made my losses back and made profit. So the GJ loss, I don't really care too much about it anymore, because at the end of the day, you can't let losses affect your psychology. Like as a trader, you just move on to the next trade. That's it. Like if you lost, you lost. That's it. It's that simple. You lost, you lost. Like don't think about your losses too much, because if you're throwing in a consistent amount each and every single month and you're taking profit and you make your losses back ×2, you don't really have anything to worry about at that point. But that was the trade breakdown. Now I'm actually gonna delete all of this, and because there's something else that I also want to point out about Nas 100. Even though we're on a bullish market, all of this, like all these, like as you can see, all these gaps, all of this has to get filled. So honestly, like within the next couple weeks to the next couple months, I might try to swing a sell position, even though it's kind of stupid because we're on a bullish instrument, but it have to come down and fill, especially because of the fact that right here, this is his all-time high right here. Like that number right there, oh, this is a little crooked. That what is that, 16, 58, 59 period, that's its all-time high. So eventually, like, you know, of course they're gonna blame news, but in reality all they're doing is just filling in like all these gaps. Like this right here, that's a gap. This right here is a gap. Like there's so much gaps that it have to come back down and fill. If you go back to this past August, late August, the entire month of September and the beginning of November, you would see that it filled. It was just like this. It was just like this on a bullish market, and then news and price just came back down. Banks pushed price down an extreme amount, and they just filled in the areas. So I'm kind of mad I didn't like hold those sell positions, but eventually for this, I will hold the sell position, because like I said, this has to get filled. Like that's why they tell you buy low, sell high. It's at its high, so they have to sell and fill in the gaps. So I expect Nas 100 and just indices in general to be bearish within the next couple like weeks, maybe months. Like I could be wrong. Like this is just my prediction, to be honest, but I hope y'all gained some insight from this, and that was the trade breakdown. If you have any questions, y'all can hit me up on Instagram. Yeah, my Instagram is in the link in the description, and it's on the video itself. So if you have any questions, just hit me up on Instagram. But that was a trade breakdown. Like I said, I made more than $200. But like I said, I was just making my losses back. But yeah, I hope y'all got some insight from this. I hope y'all gained some knowledge, and I hope you guys learned from this Nas trade breakdown, and I hope that you guys had a great NFP week. But with that being said, I'm out. Peace and love.